What's going on? Welcome to Asian Cosell. So I got another one here by Jason Whitlock. So yeah, is Caitlin Clark the biggest athlete in American sports? So let's get into this video. So Jason Whitlock and Stephen
Caitlin Clark and the WNBA. You're in Las Vegas. What are you in Las Vegas for?
There's a fight tonight being presented by Golden Boy, some prospects I want to take a look at, had some meetings. And even though, I don't cover boxing as closely as I once did, Jason, still important to get out there, see the people, connect with some of the people in the industry, had a good dinner with a couple of people that are important in the business. And, it's really a business trip, believe it or not. There's actually another card tomorrow night presented by the PBC, and I'll be watching that from home. I'm coming home, probably going to leave tomorrow morning at about 6:30 a.m.
Gotcha. Well, I want to drag you into my latest Caitlin Clark discussion. I'm going to use Colin Cowherd and Nick Wright to do it as well. I want to play you this clip. Cowherd and Wright are coming around to my point of view. They're a little late. They're a little slow. They're still behind the conversation. But here they are arguing that Caitlin Clark is the biggest star in basketball other than Steph Curry and LeBron James. Play the clip.
How many NBA players are more famous than Caitlin Clark? LeBron, Steph, absolutely.
Maybe Durant.
That's what I wrote down. KD, maybe. Outside of LeBron and Steph, she is the most well-known basketball player currently playing in the United States.
Yes. And I don't think that's close. I think I might have said this to you last year, that I thought the most famous basketball player under 30 was Caitlin Clark. I don't think it's particularly close. She is demonstrably and inarguably more famous than all of this generation's NBA stars.
Steve, agree, disagree with?
Yeah, I'm going to sit there and go agree because besides for basketball, under 30, Caitlin Clark. Why do I watch the WNBA? Caitlin Clark's the main reason why I watch the WNBA. Most of the times I could really care less about it. But yeah, I'm trying to think here. Caitlin Clark. But let's see. Let's see what Steven says.
The Cowherd and or Nick Wright.
I'm surprised Nick Wright was allowed to say that. But anyway, in terms of what they said, and you were ahead of the curve, I got to give you credit. They're absolutely correct. We're not talking about skill level. We're not talking about any of that stuff. But there is no player in American team professional sports that has the importance of Caitlin Clark to the WNBA. Think about it. When LeBron James gets eliminated, which is now becoming the tradition of the NBA playoffs in round one, I would say at least 2/3 of NBA and basketball fans are either overjoyed or they're relieved. Steph Curry loses. It's like, it's unfortunate, but we'll move on. And it's really interesting. The discussion about the NBA playoffs is all about, man, do we really want to see this small market against this small market? And I'm thinking, wow, that's kind of perverse in a sense that most of these people will then tell you the league is fixed every time the Lakers are in the playoffs and make it to the finals. So I think it's an interesting discussion. But there's never been one player that when they go down for an extended period of time, that 98.3% of that interest absolutely evaporates. And I'm just telling you, based on what I've seen, what I know, those fans that are part of that 98.4%, I don't think they have any issues holding off, going on a hiatus, and when Caitlin Clark is back on the court, just resuming their viewership of that league.
Yeah, before I go on, because I even went on hiatus. Yeah, I see what Indiana's doing. Yeah, they're still packing somewhat the crowd because the problem is most people bought tickets. Of course, it's not the complete full, like 17,000, 294, 274. It's just pretty much, it's down to like 16,000. still, that's a lot for Indiana. So they're waiting for, the golden cash cow to come back, and then the fans would start tuning in again. So I'm waiting for Caitlin Clark to get back, and I can resume watching the games, streaming the games. So, yeah, we'll see.
I think there's a reluctance. This is where I disagree with Cowherd and Wright. There seems to be this reluctance just to say the full truth that Caitlin Clark is the most impactful and important athlete in America today. I don't think we need any of these qualifiers under 30 in comparison to LeBron or Steph. I'm telling you, if Steph Curry lined up to sign autographs at one end of the street and Caitlin Clark lined up to sign autographs at the other end of the street, I know which one's going to have the longest line. Same goes for Caitlin Clark versus LeBron James. I know which one is going to have the longest line, and it's not close.
Wow. You know, the impact of Caitlin Clark is this. That when LeBron James, after the opening game, tweeted, "Great game, way to go," oh, he felt the heat. Oh, he felt the heat, and he became demonized. I'm not so sure any other athlete has that type of impact. And Jason, you're talking about that commissioner that wrote that article, basically patting herself on the back. Can we be honest about this? This is like the blast to my childhood, 1984 Rams, when Eric Dickerson had over 2,100 yards, still the NFL rushing record. That is like a guy like Dwayne Crutchfield or Barry Redden. They were the backup running back saying, you know what? We were a great rushing team. I was part of a running back room that was one of the greatest rushing attacks in National Football League history. Yeah, basically it was Dickerson. Let's be honest about it. And I am not kidding when I say this.
Yeah.
I'll give myself credit. I said last year that if the WNBA gets a new logo, we know who it should be, Caitlin Clark.
I'm going to double back on this, Steve, because you're as reluctant as Cowherd and Nick Wright. I'm going to double back. Steve, I want you to think of it this way. The WNBA is really bad product.
Yes.
I'm just when Angel Reese and her lack of skill is celebrated as a great player. Let's say 25% of the players are covered in god-awful tattoos. There's another high percentage of them that's got these fake eyelashes and bogus wigs hanging off their heads. They cape up for George Floyd and for Black Lives Matter. The players are really unlikable. They're tatted up and look unfeminine, and the skill level isn't widespread enough for the games to be that compelling.
在王国之歌里，有些地下城的入口真的超级难找。
So Chinese gaming.
赤红峡谷的瀑布后面居然藏着完整的战。
And say goodbye to Chinese gaming.
Caitlin Clark, one single player has made this league tolerable and watchable there's no other athlete. LeBron James, Steph Curry, the NBA was a moving train that they jumped onto. And you could argue LeBron James has slowed the train down and that Steph put a little gas in it and sped it up while LeBron was slowing it down. But this is what Caitlin Clark is doing is more impressive and incredible.
And yeah, Kate, again, and just like a lot of us in the States or a lot of us around the world, Caitlin Clark, she's the draw. Caitlin Clark. Like, I would even be more like if I had to go get an autograph, I'm going to get an autograph from Caitlin Clark for her to like sign my 2 jerseys. I actually invested in Caitlin Clark. I got her cards. I got her 2 jerseys. She's the needle mover. And when she gets back, I'll be back. Once she's on hiatus, I'm just like, okay. I just see how Indiana's doing. I don't like completely devote the time till she gets back on that court.
Incredible than what Tiger Woods did for golf, a relatively boring sport, but at least people weren't tatted up looking like they just got out of prison, and at least they weren't, expressing all this hatred toward American culture. We've never seen someone pull this bad a product and make it watchable and make it interesting and willing to be discussed.
Well, Jason, we talk about golf. At least the PGA, and I'm not a golf fan, I never got into the Tiger Woods thing, but at least that sport had American icons like Ben Hogan, Arnold Palmer, and the Golden Bear, Jack Nicklaus. So, and I know the WNBA's had players that have been good. No one cared, let's be honest. So let me draw this analogy. The WNBA is that really bad restaurant. I mean, outside, it's got like a C or a D for the health rating. The Yelp ratings are all like 0.9. Nobody really likes to go. But they have this one dish that's really good. The Caitlin Clark meatloaf. Let's say the meatloaf is really good. There's something about that meatloaf. That particular plate of Caitlin Clark is really good. People line up for miles. And all they order is one thing. The Caitlin Clark. Bam. It's great. Everything else that they serve is gruel. Yeah, I said gruel. It gives you food poisoning. You get salmonella. You're on the toilet. You're on that porcelain for an hour. And once they run out of the ingredients for Caitlin Clark and they say, hey, sorry, no Caitlin Clark available, everyone just disappears. That's what the WNBA is. They're that restaurant.
Yeah, okay. Oh, man. So, yeah. I'm pretty much in agreement with majority of Americans and, people around the world. No Caitlin Clark. Yep. And no Caitlin Clark meatloaf with the good ingredients. We all out. And that's what they're kind of facing. Even if, maybe some fans might hang around and see what's going on. But again, the Clark effect. That's what it's about. The Clark effect. Again, I got my 2 jerseys, the Clark effect. So it is what it is. But yeah, and shout out to Jason Whitlock and Stephen Kim. And yeah, if any of you enjoyed any of this content, please give me the HKO special. Help the king out. Hit the like, subscribe, and comment. And wherever you are, stay safe. And I'll see you in my next video.